Hello Internet! Happy Thursday! It is time for another Sticky Note review. I am the supplier. So today's Sticky Note review is of The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. If you have not heard of The Hate You Give, crawl out from under your rock. I'll give you a second. Most of you, I'm sure, have heard of it, so I'm just going to skip directly to the sticky note, which says there is not enough space on the sticky note. In fact, I have 3 sticky notes in my little itty-bitty handwriting stuck to my tripod. So, with The Hate You Give, people can talk about the family dynamic. People can talk about culture clash, about Chris's perfect white allyship, which is really a conversation in and of itself. But for me, this was about remembering that black folk are human beings first. And then we've got to break down why this is even a conversation that needs to be had. So Khalil stood in as like a surrogate for X number of black people, and notice that I am not saying just men here, who died at the hands of law enforcement or their stand-ins. But because of his relationship with Star, and because we have an opportunity to see him through Star's eyes, he is humanized in a way that the media does not humanize these people who are killed at the hands of law enforcement. I think this is particularly important for us to remember and to understand because of media portrayals and because sometimes people are not as media literate as they need to be. So if we're going to, imagine people complexly, we've got to imagine all of the people involved complexly. Because, the cop's dad went on the news and said, here is all of these things that this cop has done and all the ways in which he's contributed positively to society. But nobody delves into that side of Khalil. They say, oh, he was a gangbanger, oh, he was a drug dealer. And we see this with way too many of the people who have been killed. Either somebody finds the picture of them flipping off the screen because, nobody does that. Or they dig up any dirt they could possibly find, which isn't fair, but it is, in fact, the power of the media. But it wasn't just Khalil that Thomas humanized here. She also humanized this area of town that gets called the ghetto, that gets called the hood, that gets called the bad part of town. Because, yes, while there are gangs and other issues that are inherent to the ghettoizing of an area, there is also a group of people who take care of each other, who care about each other. And that's not, again, media, what we see. And so she also humanizes the drug dealers. While not all of them have these redeeming stories, some of them do, and when these histories are delved into and presented to us by the media, they don't take into account the circumstances. They don't take into account, why Khalil was selling drugs, or why Devante was in this gang, or anything else. So through Thomas's narrative, we get to see these people as people, which I think is a profound statement to make. What's unfortunate about that, though, is that it shouldn't be a profound statement to make. It should be a given. We should imagine people complexly, no matter how challenging that may be. So I'm gonna throw this out there. I'm gonna let you do what you want with it, but I'm gonna keep my black card, okay? So here's what I have to say. I'm not super familiar with Tupac, but in an interview on NPR, Angie Thomas said that she would listen to a lot of hip-hop, or a lot of Tupac specifically, and it would make her laugh and cry and etc. and feel things, and that she wanted to be that kind of writer. And so Angie Thomas, I say to you, you succeeded. I had all of the feels. I laughed. I got choked up when she passingly mentioned Kendrick Lamar. I was happy that I was sitting in the back of my classroom when I got to the list. And if you've read the entire book, you know what list I'm talking about. All of the feels in a good way. I want to keep shouting about this stuff and keep doing this kind of work. So the last thing I want to put to you is a question, and this question came up in one of the podcasts I just started listening to called Mostly Lit. It is 3 black British people talking about literature and pop culture, and they had an author on the last episode that I listened to, and I can't remember his name, but I'll try to remember to put all the info in the description box. But he said, his commentary around this novel, because it wasn't all the way through it at the time of the recording, had to do with timeliness versus timelessness. I'm gonna agree that The Hate You Give is a timely novel. It comes out in a time where these are issues that we are dealing with in the United States. But one of the people on the podcast asked the question, well, is it one of those novels that has longevity? Or is it going to be stuck in the time period in which it was written? So, is it timely and static, or is it timely and timeless, essentially? To which I want to answer, you know what, I don't know. I don't have a 2. But what do you think, for those of you who have read it? Do you think that it is static and timely, or timely and timeless? Will it last? Does it have longevity? I'll take those thoughts and any other thoughts you have about The Hate You Give in the comments, and I'll see you there soon. Until then, I am the supplier wishing you happy reading. Don't forget to be awesome. Hello! Welcome to the In Screen, wherein I tell you all about the places you can find me on the internet. My website is thebooksupplier.com, and you can find me at the Book Supplier at all of those places listed up in the corner, and I really hope I'm pointing in the right direction. Also, you can subscribe to the channel down here in this corner, and below you can leave comments. I like talking to people on the internet. Leave comments. Okay, I'm actually gonna get out of here now.